I want to just say they scored 52 points. Welcome into the Loochador Podcast presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Yeah, we're wearing the mask, and I got to give you the copy. We carry all the best gear from top brands at all the best prices you'll love. And now shopping is more convenient than ever at Academy.com on the Academy app. Enjoy free shipping on orders $25 or more with a sign-in, plus easy in-store curbside pickup. Shop anytime, anywhere, and find our widest selection of colors, styles, and sizes, from grills to fitness equipment to workout clothes. Everything you need to have and have fun out there. It's right here at Academy.com. Billy Liucci.
Yoda.
Everything we asked for, pretty much we got in this game.
I called 49-10. I wanted to hit it. It's rare that, I'll hit the score exact. But I was glad Randy Bond hit the field goal late. That was it. Well, oh my gosh. That was for a cover, wasn't it?
There we go.
That was for a cover. Was it 38.5? And that puts you that was a cover field goal with a minute or so left. But it was also good for Randy Bond because that was one of the very few negatives on the night. It was right before halftime. Great 2-minute drill, and they got the field goal blocked. So it was good to see the field goal team get back out there and correct like one of the very few mistakes. And I say that, I know it wasn't a perfect game, but man, it was exactly what A&M needed, and it was as close to perfect as you're going to get in an opener against a bad team.
Sorry.
All right, sorry.
People are walking by and seeing.
Okay. We got kids coming through here that's going to scare them. Opener against a bad team, and I thought that was a great performance for A&M. For anybody in an opener against that, a group of five and not a powerful group of five program, and to go handle them, have it over by halftime. That's one of the boxes you want to check. You want to get off to a good start early in the game, come out looking ready to play. They check that. You want to play a very clean game. I thought they played a very clean game. You wanted to come out healthy. You saw a couple guys get dinged up. Who knows? But it didn't seem like anything significant. Who you never know with football, but nobody like carted off the field. Like you seemed pretty healthy coming out of that one. And it was a complete game. I mean, I know the defense gave up a drive there where they looked like, when New Mexico made it look a little too easy, and that was a concern early. They settled in. It wasn't a dominant defensive performance, but it was 7 minutes left in the game or so before they went over 200 yards. They were good on defense. It was a bad offensive team. I did like New Mexico's quarterback. I liked him. I thought
Dylan Hopkins was good.
Yeah. I thought he did a nice job. He made some nice throws.
He had quick
tough.
release.
He did, and he knew what he was doing with the ball. You could tell he's an experienced guy being a transfer. But I just all the way around, I thought check in every phase that you wanted to. And what I liked the most, though, well, the second most, because we're about to talk about what everybody liked the most. But what I liked the most is just this team came out ready to play from the beginning. From the first drive, from the beginning, there was energy. They looked like they were having fun out there. They were flying around. They didn't look on their heels. They played almost the entire game on their toes. They were the aggressor. New Mexico tried that stuff where you bleed the clock out. And they had a long first, and they weathered that and just blew the doors off of them. So we've seen a ton of this, right, David?
Yeah, we have.
We've seen a ton of this where A&M has, self-inflicted wounds early or dropped passes or how many of those did you see? Almost none. And the balls that hit the ground were almost spectacular plays in the first half because I think there was just two of them.
I got a stat for you.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into it in a second. Connor Wigman had as many touchdown passes as incompletions. 5.
In a game. I was about to say, and by the time he threw his second incompletion, he probably had 3 touchdowns already. Wow. That's incredible. And we're going to get to the offense here in a second. I just like the focus, and it was in stark contrast to what we've seen in the last couple seasons. Even in the great 2020 season when they barely beat a 1-9 Vandy team as it turned out, So, look, this was really nice. It was nice to see 52-10 A&M, and they get ready for a massive showdown with the Hurricanes, who look good themselves.
Look really good, yeah.
But look, everybody, we're sitting there watching them going, oh, man, they look good. Well, okay, then go apply the same brush to it because I don't think there's much difference between Miami, Ohio, and New Mexico. Those were two bad football teams that each of the teams played.
A couple of yodels that you know, David and OB, myself and OB, we asked for 35 first-half points and 50 points in the game.
Yeah.
And we got it.
You
exactly
did.
that. So
You
let's
did.
talk about that offense.
Yeah, okay. So I think that was the story of the night, right? Because there was so much talk this offseason about the Bobby Petrino hire from the moment he was hired. You know how Dion is keeping receipts?
Yep.
It's one game against New Mexico, but I'm just saying you can't watch that game and say, man, I was that higher. If you guys say if you were against it, you were wrong. I mean, that just the offense. And you know that was vanilla, David. That was vanilla offense. The play calling, the tempo. How many times did you see them get down to 5 seconds on the play clock? I wouldn't call it like some speedy up, but they played with tempo. They played with pace. They knew what they were doing. You didn't see hardly any false starts. You saw deep shots on first down. You know what you love to see.
Yep.
You're going to play up near the line of scrimmage. We're going to attack you. You saw receivers not only catching passes, but you saw them going up and making spectacular plays. Like we said, Connor's first 2 incompletions were almost a circus catch by Evan, where he took a shot 50 yards down the field in man coverage, and then the other one was almost a touchdown to Ja'Day Walker, which was a nice pass break up there. So, I mean, Noah Thomas, incredible. Evan Stewart, incredible. Connor Wigman, incredible. That connection, I mean, spread it around. Moose, Nias made plays, the big punt return. I thought that passing game looked as good. It looked as good as I've seen from A&M in a while. And more than that, it was the attitude of it.
Yes.
It was Connor saying, and it was Bobby Petrino saying, you want to defend us that way, it's going to be bombs away. And we're not going to just take shots. We're going to complete passes and break your back if you try this. So if you want to give up long touchdowns and long pass plays, then we'll do that. So it was his attitude in the play calling, very aggressive through the air. I thought they were very aggressive on first down. I think they could have thrown it on first down all the time. I think they were purposely mixing in the run to get that run game going, and just to keep everything off balance. But it was Connor saying, one-on-one, got you. Okay? It was Noah Thomas going up, getting the football, no matter what.
Yeah.
One-on-one, it's my ball. 1, 2, 3 touchdowns as he did. Evan Stewart, 100-yard day, 2 touchdowns. It was just the aggression of it all, and I loved seeing an A&M offense and an A&M quarterback just live in attack mode. And that was the thing. And we talked about it yesterday. I said, I want a fast start. And Connor Wigman, in 3 games at Kyle Field, he's been dialed in and dealing from the beginning.
Yep.
And I don't know where to start with those guys. And I know I want to talk later O-line and the running game, but in that passing game, you tell me where we're going to start.
Well, let me just the poise. So there were several times that Connor saw a blitz coming his way, and he'd contour his body and his arm and throw a perfect pass. Like there was when Max came in, he did really nice, but there's that moxie, there's that it with Connor that was happening. Let me give you some of the numbers. Okay. 18 of 23, 236, 5 touchdown passes for Connor. Rushing-wise, it wasn't spectacular, but it wasn't bad. 134 yards rushing for the team. Amari Daniels leading the way with 51. Le'Veon had 26. Ruben had 25. Connor was right behind them with 22. David Bailey with 20 himself. On the receiving side, Evan Stewart, 8 catches, 115 yards. Noah was 74 yards, 3 touchdowns. Probably could have had 4. It felt like it was coming.
I'll tell you what, that one play before halftime with Connor, by the way, in a terrific 2-minute drill before halftime, that was perfect right up until, the field goal attempt, but a perfect 2-minute drill. What practice? But that throw he made to Noah that got called back on a hold, that was maybe the best throw and catch of the night. So then, probably would have had like 125 yards.
Right.
You'd have both of them. But I loved Connor. Just, it's the accuracy, man. It's the feel for the game. It's what we've said about him from day one. It's what, you saw at Bridgeland. You saw it last year. He's a gamer, but also it's a feel for the game that you can't coach. He knows where he's going with the ball, but when the play breaks down, the eyes, you've heard the players come in and say it, the eyes stay down the field. We talked about it with, I think it was Kendrick the other day. I was talking, the eyes stay down, focus downfield. He can go from one receiver to the other, and he gets rid of the ball so quickly. And, people will love to compare him to Johnny because it's two A&M quarterbacks. I know it's way too early in his career for any type comparisons, but the way he plays, and the thing you said, like the throwing with the, just knowing that the hit's coming, and I'm left-handed, so it's going to look crazy when I'm acting like I'm throwing with my right. But when he knows the hit's coming and he's falling away and he absorbs it while also throwing the ball, keeping the guy, like the way he steps in and out, steps up in the pocket and escapes the pocket, and just to get rid of the ball as quickly as he does. It reminds me, watching him, of a guy whose number he wears, and it reminds me more the style of play. I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes,
but the style,
but in his fifth start, but the style that he plays reminds me of that. Maybe not quite as crazy ad lib, but it definitely, I see more of 15 when I'm looking for like a quarterback to compare him to. And I just think his game tonight was so encouraging and exciting. And then you go back and look and say the last two times we've seen him play, what he's done, LSU and now New Mexico. Yeah. And obviously two completely different teams. But you're starting to get a feel for like how good he can really be and just what he's about in terms of he'll sling it and he'll take shots down the field, and he loves taking those shots. But he can also throw that intermediate stuff, deadly accurate, hits guys in stride. It's a very catchable ball. And he just also manages the game and commands the huddle and gets them up to the line and looks very, very poised. Very poised there. Yeah. So I loved so much about the offense. I loved when they came out and, they had Naboo and Dewberry in there, and Naboo would slide out to basically be a tight end, and that was their short yardage, and they converted when they needed to there. And the running game you mentioned, it wasn't explosive. You want to see those backs get going as the year goes on, and I think they will. But you ran, like you said, for 160. Okay, so let me say, New Mexico's selling out and saying beat us with intermediate and long passes, and A&M says, okay, we'll do that, and they do it. And why you didn't tell me my hat was still back? And so they were saying beat us with long passes, beat us down the field. We said, okay, we'll do it. But they were running against numbers a lot and still had some success. It wasn't like they were beating their head against the wall. And I know it's New Mexico, but I'll say this. We saw them beat their head against the wall against like Texas State a few years ago. We saw them beat their head against the wall, obviously, against App State. I saw them play Sam Houston in an opener a couple of years ago last year where A-Chain, if I'm not mistaken, ran for like 50 yards,
I think.
And that was about all they got on the ground that day. So we've seen this against bad teams where, like you talked about all week, where you go, okay, you struggled. It didn't feel like A&M was gashing or whatever, but they ran for 160. And it wasn't like they padded those numbers late. That was a pretty, steady throughout the game of just solid run. It was nothing special, and you want to see the running game get going more. But I'll tell you what, if they keep throwing the ball like they do, and you're going to have teams that play a much more conventional style of coverage against them, I think that running game's going to pick up. I didn't hate what I saw at all from the O-line tonight. And I'll tell you this, David, go back 2 years ago against New Mexico and look at how many times it was just trash in the backfield and guys getting beat and blown up and blown assignments. And you looked up, and I'd like to see the numbers from that game to this one in terms of like tackles for loss and sacks and things like that. And I know there were some pressures. It was like I said, it wasn't going to be flawless. You were going to have some plays where they gave up negative plays. But in general, I thought the O-line, I liked it. You had Bryce there at center. Mm-hmm. And that was without Fathery, who was suited up, so that was good. I thought Basantis as a true freshman there at tackle, that was impressive. And then I thought, we saw the Dewberry and Naboo, like it was Naboo and Dewberry there. Nabooberry, the guard combo. That's a great cereal, by the way. Frankenberry, Booberry, Count Chocula. It's getting to be around Halloween time. Get those for your kids. Don't worry about the sugar. I know it's 2023 and kids can't eat sugar anymore. Feed them the damn Halloween cereal. They'll love you for it. But Naboo and Dewberry, I thought, looked good at guard. I like the O-line play tonight. Again, I'm telling you, go back 2 years ago. I don't even care about the stats. They might support me on it. They might not. Go back and watch with Foster and Fathery as freshmen that year and watch them trying to block New Mexico, and that was a real sign of things to come. Was that year? And then the next game, they almost lost to Colorado, and then Arkansas was such a mess.
It was Kent State, Colorado.
Yeah. Then it was New Mexico, I think. And then Arkansas was a problem.
Right.
This O-line looked a lot better tonight. And it's what happens when you start connecting down the field when they're daring you to do it. Do you want to talk about Noah Thomas?
Well, I wanted to bring this up. Tell me what you think about this comment. Evan had a quiet 8 catches, 115 yards, and Noah and 2 touchdowns. And Noah Thomas had a loud, if you will, 6 catches, 74 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, Evan Stewart he put on a master class tonight. That was clinical what he did tonight. And look, he almost hauled in a sensational catch. That was right in front. I was down there. I got some good views tonight of Noah's second touchdown, Moose's touchdown. It was good to see him get in the action late. He seemed a little frustrated early, and then get a nice touchdown late. He hits the brakes, lets him fly right by there. But Evan almost came down with another, just one of those damn ridiculous catches that would have been another 50. So now you're talking about a 9 catch, like almost like a 9 for 170. That wouldn't have been a touchdown, but that was that dude's special. He's special. What he did tonight, like you said, that almost was like workmanlike.
Right.
Like he can do that. Teams are going to have a hard time keeping him from doing that regularly. I mean, just ask Alabama, ask Ole Miss, and this is him going into year 2. So I couldn't be more fired up about that receiving core. And what did Anais do tonight?
40 yards.
And how many catches?
I'm trying to open up that page. It's
3.
Anais, 3 catches, 40 yards.
And so Anais is going to have big games too.
Right. And that's the thing about the room, right?
Jade Walker almost had a long touchdown, and he had a couple grabs too. So
Jade Walker, 3 catches, 31 yards.
Yeah.
He could have had a bigger one too.
Yeah. So those guys are going to have nights too, and Moose is as well. So
3 catches and 12 yards for Moose
and a TD. So I mean, they're gonna. It's really nice what they got going there, and I think it's going to be a week to week thing, and I think Evan is going to be. He's good enough to go out any night and get you 100, and there's going to be some nights where he gets you north of 150. Yeah. You watch. And Noah is going to be – he's next to impossible to defend. And you saw him limping around a little. He's not all the way healthy. People saw him in the boot last week. He's, trying to heal that up. And to go out and do what he did, he's not at 100%. That's scary.
Before we close out, can we talk a little defense for a moment?
Yeah.
Because – I felt there was that little area that kind of got out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Just one little drive that they were able to run the ball. But I think that they got better as the game went on.
Yeah, I did.
And again, we knew that New Mexico was going to play this ball control, eat up as much clock as possible. You told us leading up to it. it's going to be that kind of game, and they were still able.
I hate that.
Yeah.
But, look, the defense, to me, it is still a question mark, more so than the offense. And I thought that going into the season. But I think I do believe they can make a big jump in year 2 under Durkin and all these young guys. Look, we saw some second-year guys now. They look more physically mature. They were making plays out there. I love the D-line. I want to see them rip off blocks a little more violently and explosively, but I think when you start seeing teams try to line up and run them, my concern are going to be like next week, Miami with Shannon Dawson, that Holgerson tree, and Van Dyke being a smart veteran quarterback, and them getting rid of the ball quickly, and then all of a sudden spreading you out with the pass and then popping runs.
Right.
Like, I think maybe early this team is one of these hopefully bend but don't break defenses, but I think they fly around to the ball. I do think they're going to win the battle of the line of scrimmage as this year goes on. I think you're going to see that defensive front win the battle of LOS. I liked Edgerrin. Torian York's just going to get better and better. Corner will be interesting. I've been telling you that. You know, it's Javon Thomas played a lot tonight. He was getting out there. So as he gets better, so will the defense. I thought Chappelle was good. And I was seeing on a group text, like people were all down on DeBerry early in the game. I thought he had a nice game. And he gave up a couple completions there early, and people were like, oh, no, he's no good. Man, this guy's been selected to 2 different all-ACC teams. He was honorable mention. He was second team. I thought he came out. How many tackles did Josh DeBerry have? He had a pick. By the way, credit Fadil Diggs. That was a really nice pressure to force that pick. A&M had a little more pressure.
Josh DeBerry, 10 tackles, 7 solo, 1 sack.
And a sack and an interception and 10 tackles. And here's the thing about the tackles. I know, like, oh, we don't want, that means people are completing passes again. Not necessarily. He had a couple tackles near the line of scrimmage. I thought he was really nice in run support. And down there on the field, watching him, he's a physical tackler at corner.
Yes.
So TBD on the defense. But I thought it was a solid showing last night. My concern is just Miami this week. I don't think they looked great on offense against – it's Miami of Ohio.
Right.
A&M had an infinitely better first half than Miami. I think Miami went up 16 or 20-3 right before halftime. I think they kicked a field goal maybe to go up 16-3 at the half or something like that. But they did have, you saw players, you go, okay, these guys can be explosive. It's going to be a massive, massive tilt next weekend in Miami. It's such an important game for Texas A&M because now watching tonight was tantalizing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh, if this offense can do this in game 1, if they can keep building on this, and who knows. But you got landmines early.
Yeah,
Auburn looked good. I mean, these teams are playing nobody. So did A&M. So it's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
But it was a fun first day of college football. Shoot. I mean, TCU and Colorado.
What a game.
Like, hey, salute.
Yeah.
Prime time. Coach Prime. Like, I wasn't expecting that at all. None of us were. I think we all picked TCU to cover.
I picked Colorado.
You did pick Colorado? Okay, good pick.
Thank you.
You didn't pick them to win, right?
No,
Okay.
just the cover.
But they're fun.
Yeah.
And in the Pac-12, I think the trenches will end up getting them, both lines of scrimmage there, but they're going to score points on everybody. They're going to score, and they're fun. And I give credit to any coach, again, his college football players to play that hard for him. And his son was special. Travis Hunter was incredible.
He was fantastic. Both sides.
But I don't know. Is Connor Wigman contender for SEC Player of the Week?
He better
Noah
be.
Thomas? I think they could both be on that list. What else around college football? South Carolina.
Oh,
North Carolina, your boy Mac Brown put it to him.
he did.
He put it to him. And so, again, there's one of those teams that a lot of people are hyping up. It is a long season. But South Carolina looks like kind of what I thought they'd look like.
They look exactly what
They
I thought.
don't. They're not going to be great. They're dangerous, but they're not a juggernaut.
Yeah.
And anything else from around the country today? that stood out?
Georgia did what they were expected to do.
Yeah. What else?
Yeah, I can look at scores for you.
I'm trying to think of what games were of interest this weekend.
Wasn't Baylor getting embarrassed by Texas State?
Texas State and G.J. Kinney. Now, you talk about a rising star there. And they had the old LSU. A couple years ago, that quarterback was here at Kyle Field, stinking up the field for LSU in the rain. And now he's going down there beating Baylor. I'm going to say this. Dave Aranda, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
This is year 4. And if they stink as bad as they look, that's going to be 3 of 4 bad years there for them in Waco, along with the Big 12 title. But not a good look to go and get beat like that by Texas State. So, I don't know. I feel like we're forgetting one thing around college football this weekend.
Oklahoma 73.
They look good. They looked really good. They did everything we said about A&M. You could say about OU too, and maybe even more so. But again, who's playing who here? Texas was interesting. Texas, if Rice's offense wasn't so overmatched and bad, if they were playing a team with a pulse on offense, the way they played today would have been interesting. And I don't want to read too much into it. They could go down there, and if Ewers and Worthy and those guys get it going, there'll be a real problem for Bama next weekend. And I believe that's going to be a hell of a game, and I think they're going to be a problem for Bama. But not if they played like they did today. I know they pushed that score up. It was like 37-10, but I'm telling you, they were losing battles to Rice. When they had the ball, they were losing battles to Rice. Ewers is still pretty inaccurate a lot of times. It's like he's all or nothing. If I was a Texas fan, that was an interesting watch. I'll reserve judgment, though. I think they're going to give Bama all they want next week. I'll be really interested to see that game, especially if we can watch A&M win and then go somewhere in Miami and catch that night game.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for the Loochador Podcast. Thank you to Academy Sports and Outdoors. Monday, we'll have 2 hours of Billy. Monday, 2 hours?
Yeah.
All right.
Suppose so.
Thank you.
Had me working on a holiday.
Like wearing these again. We'll see you guys next time.
Absolutely.